Mine says
Oh,
UGH. It's the best cup ever.
UGH.
Mine's clear.
Ugh.
Nothing.
I just think it's funny.
Joe, how we doing?
We are live on Facebook.
Okay, I don't see it. I'm not getting a live alert.
I'm not either.
Showing up on mine.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. What's this?
All right. See Pete, Maureen. Hey guys, how are you? We're just jamming out to a little Jason Aldean here for a minute. Get people to give people a chance to log on.
What's showing now? My screen?
All right. Neal, yeah. Joe, you on?
Yes, I'm on.
All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm on here with Neal from Bright. We're really happy to have him on here. Melissa, my assistant, and Clark, one of our agents at Sachs Realty. Clark has been a realtor for over 30 years. So he dates back before the MLS. And I hope that's not painful to say, Clark.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, so guys, we're here. Obviously, everyone's working from home. And we thought that it was important that we bring some updates. Bright is such an integral part of our day-to-day activities as agents and service providers. And Bright has come up with some new guidelines in the midst of this COVID-19 situation that we're all in right now and experiencing, where offices are closed. But from my understanding, our attorney and the associations and the Maryland Association of Realtors, we are still able to work with caution. So Bright has implemented a lot of new functionality, and I feel like a lot of times we're so busy that we don't take the time to learn the tools that we actually pay for. And it is, it's a great value for the money that we pay, Bright MLS. And Neal has been in this business for a long time with the MLS, even before Bright, when it was Metropolitan Regional Informational Services, or MERIS as we all know it. And so Neal, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, and then let's dive right into this COVID-19 stuff.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Todd. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. I wish I could be with you, but as we all know, the world is in an uproar right now. But I can assure you that everybody at Bright MLS, we're working 24 hours a day trying to keep the markets moving and you guys in business. The executive committee is meeting pretty much daily, and we're trying to be nimble and take care of all your needs, and we're collecting suggestions, and we're trying to do the best we can. So hopefully you're all looking at the Bright homepage here, and you'll see right in the front there is this Bright Steps. So this is very important. I want to take you there. So I'm going to click on Learn More here. There's a little message from our CEO if you ever want to look at that. So these are different things that we have going on. I'm going to come to the market update in a minute. But down here, we have lots of information for all of you to help you with your business, steps for your business, 5 ways to manage your work, tips for safety, videos, showing time, things for your clients. We have all kinds of additional resources from the NAR, all the different state association. We have links there. As you know, there are differences in state mandates. As Todd pointed out, in the state of Maryland, agents are still allowed to enter houses with caution, maintaining that social distancing. that is okay. However, in Pennsylvania and Delaware now, agents are prohibited from entering homes. So I will just have this little caveat here that depending upon the state you happen to be working in, make sure you know the rules for that particular state.
And Neal, just for clarification, tell everybody what areas you cover.
I cover Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Hartford, Frederick, Carroll, Howard. I think that's it.
Okay.
I've covered actually most of the associations in the state of Maryland on this side of the bridge. This is actually my 16th year with the company. They haven't fired me yet. So getting back to this, the COVID page, I wanted to make sure you know how to get here, because we have a new market update report that we're now putting out to give you guys a more clear and reasonable indication of what the market is doing, especially under these circumstances. So if you see down here, I'm going to access the latest report, and you'll see all the great information it's going to give you here. Is everybody seeing the report?
Yes.
They can. And Neal, we just had one quick question.
Sure.
One of our realtors is asking, how do they get there again? Can you just go over again one more time how they directly get to that part on the page that you're talking about?
Where I am,
Yeah.
from the home page of Bright,
Yes, please.
and let's see if I can go here. All right, let's just do this. So I'm on the home page of Bright. You'll see this big box, Bright Steps, right here. That's what you're going to click on. And then if you scroll down here, you will see the market update. We're simply going to click on here. Then you're going to access the latest report, and that will bring us to it. So here's the overview for Monday, March 23rd. I'm not going to read all this stuff. I want you to see what it contains. For example, Monday had 334 fewer properties available, less than 1% of the total market. New active listings fell 29% over the prior 4 weeks. Temporarily off market accounted for 7 out of 10 status changes. Things of that nature. And then it breaks it down for you. Daily on-market inventory, active and active under contract. So it tells you yesterday's dip was 334 fewer properties than Sunday. Okay. So you can look at actives. You can look at listings being removed from the market. This is for temp off, withdrawn, and canceled. So it said this day, 19.5% above Monday's average for the last 4 weeks. So this is to help you guys track what's happening with statuses in the system. Temp off, okay? Temp off market accounted for nearly 70% of the day's off market status changes. And we're going to talk a little bit later about how to use the statuses correctly, especially in this situation. Daily number of listings changing to canceled. Okay, cancellations with their lowest Monday levels in the past 4 weeks, and we like that. We don't want to see the cancels going up. There are alternatives to that. We want to keep listings on the market. Daily number of listings changing to withdrawn. 27 fewer withdrawn properties compared to the average of the past 4 Mondays. So withdrawals are coming down a little bit. Daily number of coming soons being added to the market. They posted 76 fewer coming soon listings compared to the average of the last 4 Mondays. So as things are getting a little bit hinky with times, I guess coming soons are getting less. Daily number of new active listings being added. A 28.6 decline from the previous 4 Mondays compared to the 4-week benchmark. 293 fewer listings came on the market. Okay. So next one, daily number of new active under contracts and daily number of new pendings being added to the market. Daily showing activity. Okay. Now, of course, this is for our whole footprint. So as I just mentioned, shutdown in PA and Delaware now taking hold. Showings, of course, have dropped off tremendously. And then there's some information here. That's District of Columbia, Delaware trends, Maryland trends, So this is where you guys could go. New active listings from Maryland, listings being removed from Maryland, temp off. And then Jersey, if you're interested, and there's Pennsylvania and Virginia and West Virginia, and we got them all. Okay, so that's a really important report for you guys to keep track of exactly what's going on within the system. All right, do we have any questions there?
Not currently.
Yeah, I guess it's no surprise. So
Yep, no surprise, but we added this extra report just to give you guys the ability to keep better track of what's going on in the
and
system.
Neil, how often will that be updated?
I do believe it's weekly.
Okay. Great, but it was as current as Monday, so.
Yep,
that's
current as
fantastic.
Monday.
Yeah. it's
All
past
right.
Monday.
So the next subject matter is we're going to talk about the new rules. So bear with me for a minute because we're going to switch over to a little PowerPoint here.
And these are new rules. with
These
the-
are
with
new
COVID.
these are the new temporary rules that we've put into place. As I said before, the executive committee has been meeting pretty much daily and trying to be proactive to the requests of our agents to try to help, as I said, keep business moving. Okay. So temporary rules. Number one, in-person on-site showings are not required for active and active under contract. You know, the normal rule is you have active contract, the home must be available to be shown. We have removed that temporarily because of the situation. If you have an active property and you're not having in-person or on-site showings, inside showings, must be available. You must have photos, a virtual tour, a virtual showing, or it must be available for walkthrough before closing. You still must have one photo that is required. The difference between a virtual tour and a virtual showing. A virtual tour is pretty much your recorded virtual tour that goes on the listing that people can watch. A virtual showing is actually a live showing. For example, the agent or even the homeowner goes on to Facebook Live or something like that, or through Skype, and they walk through the house and show the house to someone who is not there, a remote showing from the house. That's what we call a virtual showing. Virtual tours. So we've made it a whole lot easier for you guys to get those virtual tours on the system. So for the time being, remember now, all these rules are temporary and the rules will be changing as we need to. So for now, public remarks. You may put an unbranded virtual tour into public remarks. Normally, this is not allowed. Okay, so an unbranded tour just means that within the tour itself, no for sale sign, no talking about yourself, talking about your broker, you're simply showing the home. But something else we've relaxed, and this goes for both public, both for unbranded and branded tours, you may use now YouTube or a service like Vimeo to load this. Normally, we don't allow it because that puts the agent's information on there. So we're allowing it as long as the video itself is unbranded. That is in the public remarks. Agent remarks, you may have now a branded virtual tour in the agent remarks section. Okay, so that can include all your contact information and all of that, that kind of thing. Okay, so once again, in public remarks, you may have an unbranded virtual tour. In agent remarks, you can have a branded. And all you have to do is just take that link for the URL and paste it right into the remarks section. That will make it available to the visitors of that listing. So
Neil, just a little clarification, if
Sure.
you could, just kind of go back through the unbranded and branded again. So in the public remarks, you can have an unbranded virtual tour. So with a link to YouTube, obviously that would take it to the agent's YouTube channel.
Correct. So that's why
so
we've
how
loosened
that
the
would still
rules.
be
Normally we
branded,
don't
so-
allow that. So as long as the video itself is unbranded.
So you're saying no watermarks on the video,
Right, and you
Otherwise, like
want,
a lot of
you
our-
don't want to show the for sale sign on there or anything like that. It's got to be unbranded. You don't want to talk about the brokerage, yourself, anything like that. You're just showing the house.
Gotcha. So no
That is
intros. Hi, I'm Todd Sachs with Sachs Realty. That can't happen.
Right, exactly.
Right,
Agent
so
remarks, you can brand it.
Sure. But as far as what's getting aggregated to the other sites and the public remarks, those videos have to be clean of all branding.
That is correct, and that's exactly the reason why, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Now, there are situations where it's often required that a buyer agent get authorization from the seller if they want to take photos or videos of a home. So what we're allowing now for is a blanket authorization that you can add to the agent remarks. This is not the set verbiage, but this is just an example of how you can state it. Seller provides authorization to all cooperating broker agents to take photos, videos of the home during a scheduled unaccompanied showing. So once again, we want to make it easier for the buyer agents and the potential buyers to be able to see the home as best they can. So if you want to make that easy, you can just put a blanket authorization that will let the buyers go right in there. So those are the new rules for now. So I'll just stop for a minute, see if we have any questions, any discussion.
Yeah, so I would just say, as far as having this type of authorization with an addendum that you run that by your broker, that you would come up with some type of standard verbiage that that the seller would sign, saying that they would permit this also. So just make sure you're running that by your broker, that the company is okay with what you're saying here.
Absolutely. All right, now we're going to switch back live for a minute here. We're going to go back to the website. Okay.
So guys, we're about to learn some really exciting tools. So, many of us, when we get busy, we don't really utilize what we're paying for. And Bright has so many great functions that can help us in running our business, and really excited that Neal's going to point out some of the top functions that you should really get familiar with while you're at home, and a lot slower than you'd like to be, but really taking advantage so that when the surge happens, and it will happen, I mean, we're going to get through this, just like Neal had indicated. What's happening is you're seeing that houses are going temporarily off the market. They're not being canceled. And that just means that the people are saying, look, let's put the brakes on this for a couple of weeks. So we will see that surge. We'll have our spring. It'll just be a little later in the year. These tools are going to really help you to better manage your business and serve your clients. So really excited. Neal, thank you again for your time. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you for having me. Since we brought up statuses, let's go there. I just want to review the statuses with you so you all can take the best advantage of using them. So you all know, hopefully, that we still have coming soon available, right? That is a 21-day coming soon, great pre-marketing. If it is new construction, you can keep it into coming soon for up to 2 years. That also applies to major renovations and condo renovations. It's all based on the certificate of occupancy. So as long as there's no certificate of occupancy, you can keep it in coming soon under those circumstances for up to 2 years. We already discussed the active and active under contract. Now you don't have to have showings. So temp off. So I know your customers are kind of going crazy now. What are we going to do in the market? People can't see the house. What are my alternatives? So if you want to, you can move it to temp off. Okay. So with temp off, the days on market pauses. Okay. And then when you go back to active, it picks up. So if I had it on active for a week and then I went temp off for 3 months, whatever it happens to be, when I come back on, it's days on market, 8 days. And there is no limit right now to the amount of time that you can leave it on temp off. You also have withdrawn. So you know the way withdrawn works. If you withdraw a listing and then you're planning on relisting it, you have to wait 61 days to reset the days on market. And when you enter the listing, you have to enter it as a new listing. You can't just go to withdraw a listing and move it back to active. That will not reset the days on market. Okay, that's very important. Of course, there are some issues when you put it into withdrawn, and that is that there are some services out there that are still doing robocalls on withdrawn listings, and there are agents out there that are still not up to date with the new rules when we switched over to Bright, the way we changed withdrawn. So when you have it under withdrawn, there is, of course, the possibility, and it will happen, that your sellers will get called and they may get inundated with solicitations. The other possibility is you could just cancel the listing, and then when you're ready to go back on the market, get a new listing agreement and start from there. Of course, the issue there, of course, is control over your customer, right? If it's in withdrawn, there's still a relationship between you and your seller. No solicitation, supposedly. There is still a listing agreement in effect. With canceled, of course, there is no listing agreement. So there's the possibility that you'll lose control over your customer. That'll make sense? I hope so. I asked you that like I'm teaching a class, right? Okay. All right, so let's talk about now your appointments. I know you all use showing time. So I want to show you a couple of things that you can use to attach your actual tours to showing time. So to get to showing time, I'm going to go to clients, and then I'm going to click on my showings. Okay, so here I'm at my showing time page. I will go to listing setup. I will choose the listing I want to work with right here. Okay, so if this is going to be a virtual tour that I'm just going to attach to the showing instructions, I'm going to come to appointment type, and I'm going to make it view instructions only. And then I'm simply going to come down, and under the additional instructions, I will simply add the link to that virtual tour and any other information that you want to add there. So if you want to have it so people can click on, schedule a showing and automatically have another conduit to a virtual tour, great way to make sure that it's out there. The other possibility, we talked about this a little bit before, was virtual showings. Okay, where maybe the agent goes to the house, fires up Skype or whatever conduit you're going to use, and remotely broadcasts a viewing to that customer. So if you want to set one up for that for your customer, we're going to come up top. We're going to change appointment type to appointment required. Then we're going to come down to where it says access information, access details. We're going to hit this little down arrow that says select one, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom under other access methods, and we're going to select other. Then under access notes, simply paste in the link for that virtual showing. And then of course, any other additional instructions you can type under here. So this is really a great way to make sure you get those virtual tours out and set up a virtual showing with your customers. And just let me say at this point, I know this is being recorded and it'll be available, but I'm also going to make this PowerPoint available to Melissa and Todd. So if you wanted to distribute it so people can have the screenshots here, you will be able to have that also.
That's great.
For those part of it. So
Neal, if we could just go back, we
yes,
have a
sir.
question. Melissa, can you go over Bob's question, please?
Absolutely. So Neal, we had a question coming from Bob Kimball. I had a coming soon listing that was withdrawn until things settle a little, out of fear, frankly. sellers had 2 agents contact them directly saying property is withdrawn and now open to any agent to talk to. Agents need to know the difference between withdrawn and canceled.
That is absolutely correct. And when we swung over from the old legacy MRIS to Bright, and we made these adjustments to the statuses, this was the biggest issue. Okay. In the old withdrawn, it meant there was no more relationship. So the definition of withdrawn now means that the listing is not on the MLS, not being marketed, but there is still a relationship between the seller and the agent. Okay. One other scenario that it's used for, they decide that they're not going to work together, they have a falling out, and the seller says, I want to cancel the agreement. And the agent says, well, that's too bad. We're not going to do that. I'm going to put it into withdrawn. It will not be marketed. It will not be on the MLS, and it will stay as withdrawn. Our relationship will remain until the expiration date of the listing, then of the agreement, then the system will move it to expired. But you're absolutely right, Mr. Kimball. We try very hard. We mentioned this in all our classes to get people updated. And that's why homeowners are still getting solicitations from agents. And still some, we've tried to pretty much curtail the companies that were pulling withdrawals and setting up robocalls. We think we have most of it taken care of. I think there's probably some more out there. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
All righty. So in these times now, when you guys are busy, I know you got kids, dogs, husbands, wives, running around. So things get a little crazy, and you may get distracted from keeping track of what's going on. So one thing I wanted to go over here, very important, is what we call the portal notifications. And this is how you can set up how you're going to be notified when your customers take action on the portal. So to set that up, we're going to go up to your name in the upper right-hand corner. And then you're going to click on Account and Settings. This is the account management part of the system. Okay. If you've never been here before, this is where your contact information is that you can change when your email address or your phone numbers or your websites change. Your account statement, which you'll be pulling for the tax season this year. Pay your bills, set up an auto pay so we can take your money while you're sleeping. But the one I want to talk about right now is under MLS settings. The very last link under MLS settings is called Portal Notification Settings. Okay. So as you know, when your customers visit the portal, they have the ability to mark a listing as a favorite with a heart, a possibility with the light bulb, and the trash can. They want to discard the listing. They can also add notes. They can do their own searching. So this is the way for you to get set up to be notified when they take that action. As you see, you can set yourself up for ASAP email, ASAP text, and a daily summary email. You could do all 3 of those if you wanted. Okay. My personal suggestion would be do not just rely on the daily summary email. Okay. For example, customer opens up a listing at 9 o'clock in the morning. They love it. They mark a heart. You don't see it till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sure you could have already had a showing scheduled. So it might be a good idea to have the daily summary as kind of a recap at the end of the day, but I would choose at least one of the ASAPs, email or text. If you are setting it up by text, you're going to come down to the bottom here. You're going to enter your phone number and your cell provider. And then the system was going to shoot you a little 4-digit code by text. The box will come up. You type in that 4-digit code, and now you are all set up to be notified when your customers take action on the system. So if you haven't had that set up, please make sure that you do that. Also, I'll mention, if you don't have your banners and headers set up, also under MLS settings, under My Information, these are all the places within the system that require your information. You can do them in each individual section. This is just a one-stop shop, and you will have to load your headshots in individually. If you don't have the headers and the footers in your system, please set them up. This is what they look like. There are about 15 or 16 different, and I can actually do this, different banners that you can use. Mountains, rivers, cities, country, different colors, things of that nature. And why it's so important is, well, number one, it looks pretty professional when you do this, but secondly, it puts all your information in front of your customer. So when they open up the portal and they're looking at a property and they want to talk to you about it, your phone number is right there, your website, your email address, whatever it is. And these, of course, you can also print out on the reports that you print out for your customers. So just a couple of reminders there. All right, any questions there? How are we doing for time? We doing all right?
You're good.
We're doing good. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about here is a couple of the reports that you can access that not only will tell you what's going on in the market for similar properties, but it can also compare yours. So I'm going to go under market research, and we're going to run what is called the market performance report. Okay. And what this is a way to see how similar properties are doing in the market. You may want to run this before you actually put it on. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up here. We're going to put in a price range. We're going to go 350 to 450. Just a piece of paper. All right, we're going to go on the other here. We're going to go as a detached home, and it's a fee simple home. Okay, and we're going to say it has at least 3 bedrooms, at least 3 bathrooms. And you can see these are different ways that you can search. Search by radius, search by area, MLS, address, zip code, school district, zip code. So we're going to use zip code search. We'll go 21030. So let's say you're preparing a home that meets this criteria in this area. You're thinking about that price range. We're now going to run the report and see what similar properties are doing. So this will open us up in a new tab. So right here, you'll see on the right, these are the criteria that you set up for this that you can, if you need to. This is showing the zip code, the price range. This is just the criteria that you've used. You'll see up here, there's currently 1 active property. It's been days on market, 0 to 45 days. Now you'll see weekly, new listings, active under contract, pending, closed, expired. Average appointments before contract of the competitive properties, average portal visits, number of times it's been sent in the last 4 weeks in direct emails, last time in the last 4 weeks it's gone through auto emails. Now it's telling you down here, MLS appointment activity. And of course, this all works through the showing time system. That's how we get the appointment information. So it's telling you the average appointments per listing by week, so you can get an idea of that. The total agents scheduling appointments by week, the average appointments before contract. So you'll see here this week, the average appointments was 11.75. Here, the average was 10.25. So it's just going to give you an idea. Then it's also going to tell you for these types of properties, the portal activity, full listing views, 37, buyer favorites, 6, buyer possibilities, 3.8, discards, 5. And then it also gives you here email activity. These are the number of portals that your listing went into. These are the ones from auto email and direct email. So it's a nice way to look at what the market is doing with similar properties. Now, we're going to take this one step further, and I'm going to go to what's called the listing performance report. So the way I'm going to get there is I'm going to go to search, And I'm just going to bring up a search that I had. Okay. And let me make this a little so you can see the whole screen. So I think I'm going to go to this one. So if you follow all the way over to where the icons are, right next to that H, which is history, you're going to see this little icon that looks like a little bar chart. If it is your listing and your listing only, you will get what's known as now the listing performance report. And what that does is it is really the market performance report, but compared to your listing. So this is a tremendous way to see how your listing is doing to similar listings that are on the market. So let's go down here, listing summary. So you've had one appointment. The average competitor listing has had almost 10.5. You've had 2 favorited, average has had 4. No direct emails here. Auto emails, you've had 28. They've had 152. So now you're seeing how you're doing against the market with your actual listing. So once again, the competitive market activity that we showed you. Now here's the scheduled appointments. So it's showing your appointment versus the market average. Showing scheduling, agent scheduling activity. These are agents scheduling your listing 1, your listing only, your listing and competitive listings only. So are they scheduling for you, or are they scheduling more of your competitors' listings? Great way to get a handle of what's going on. This one, I think, is really important. Appointments before contract. Okay, so here it's telling you what the market average is for the number of appointments before they're getting a contract. So sometimes you may see a situation here, you'll see in the average is 10.9, you've had 4. Okay, you may see that you have like a large number of appointments and you still don't have a contract as compared to the other people. Well, that might be an indication that something needs to be done, right? Why are you having so many more appointments without a contract than your competitors? Well, maybe you've been trying to convince your seller that there needs to be a price adjustment. Or maybe you've been trying to tell them, you know, it would really help if you got rid of the paisley curtains that have been sitting there since 1955. You could probably talk to them till you're blue in the face. It goes in one ear and out the other. If you can show it to them in a graphical representation to show them that your listing is lagging behind, it may be the impetus for them to make the changes that you are suggesting. Then down here we have sold listings, portal activity, once again. And what's really nice about this, full listing views. So that means that in order for this to count, they actually have to click into the full listing. It's not like they looked at a one-liner. That doesn't count. They have to take that proactive action to click on it, which makes it a much more meaningful statistic. So the full listing views, 73 versus 43, 2 versus 4 for the favorites, possibilities and discards. Once again, your email activity through auto email and direct emails. You can print this out if you would like to give it to your customer. If there are any sections that you don't want to show them, you'll see right here as an example in the agent scheduling activity, you can uncheck the box, it will not print in the report. So you have that little bit of customization. So this is a great way to show you. As I've said, kind of flippantly maybe, I said the market performance report can be used to get that listing, and the listing performance report can be used to lose the listing. But it's a great way to keep your customers, your sellers, abreast of what's going on with their listing. And once again, I will reiterate this because I think it's important. It's a great visual way to show them how the listing is going in case you're getting into those discussions about making necessary changes to the listing that they may have been hesitant to do in the past. So that is your market performance and listing performance report. I'm going to stop for a minute, see if we have any questions, discussions. Are we good, Melissa?
Everyone just has given really positive feedback. It's
I don't know if anybody's having audio. Is it just me on audio?
It might just be you. He's coming through loud and clear to me. How about you, Clark?
It's perfect.
Yeah, just a lot of positive feedback. Margot she just was commenting how much she loves the report, and
Okay, yeah.
thank you for the reminder. And Pete thinks it's been a perfect feed for him. So just really thankful so much for you taking the time.
Great. Well, thanks for that feedback. You know, it's very strange doing this, kind of like talking to my kid. Like I used to say, it's like talking to a wall, which is pretty much what I'm doing here right now. But thank you for that feedback. All right, a couple other things I want to talk about here. We're going to go to a PowerPoint for this. So hang on one second. Hello, Melissa. All righty, let's go up here. All right, everybody can see this slide, I hope?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listing info. So I want to show you some of the things that you can do and get information with your own listings. So I'm here obviously on the homepage of Bright. I'm going to click on My Listings and then View My Listings. Okay. So you'll see right now it's showing active listings. If I wanted to share this listing outside of the Bright system, I'll use that little checkbox, select the listing I want. I will click on share in the lower left-hand corner, and up comes this box that gives you a nice public-friendly link to the listing. So copy that link, stick it in your email, send it to whoever you would like. That's just a way to share your listing outside of the system. So if you look up top here in that little drop down, these are all the different ways that you can look at your listings. Your coming soon listings, your active listings, pending listings, on market, expiring listings 30 days, listings no photos, off market for the last 2 years, sold listings in the last 2 years, and the last one, which is what I am clicking on, and that is called the hit counters. Okay, and the hit counter is once again showing you the action that you are getting through the email system for this particular listing. So if we go over here, these are all zeros because this is just an example, but client portals. So that is the number of client portals that your listing was sent to, okay? The number of portals that it was sent to, that's the number of customers that agents sent it out to. Client views are the number of time, as I said before, the number of time that the client opened up the full listing. So once again, I really think that this is a great stat because they have to take that proactive step in order to view it. So client views. Client favorites, the ones that they've hearted, the ones that they have marked as hearts, the number of times your listing went out in the auto email system, the previous 14 days viewed. Now, the last two are stats having to do with concierge. In case you're not familiar with the concierge service, what concierge does is in the auto email system, instead of sending the listings directly to the customer, it sends the listings to you first, lets you review them, and decide which of those listings you want to go out to that customer, okay? So you can hit a button that says send all of them, they all go. Or you could just choose the ones you want to forward on, and you can actually discard some if you want to. So that's concierge. So once again, instead of the listings going directly to your customer before you see them, Some agents say, I like to see all the listings before I send them to my customer. When you're in the auto email setup screen, you will see a box that says Enable Concierge. When you hit that button, it turns off the schedule, your ASAP or your daily schedule, because they're not scheduled to go out to your customer now. As soon as they hit, they will come into you. You will get an email. You will also see in the orange bar up here, it will say Concierge Alert. So this agent published and agent rejected, once again, have to do with concierge. These are the number of the listings that you decided to forward on to your customer. So these are the number of agents that got it in concierge and said, yes, I like this listing, I'm sending it to my customer. Agent rejected is just the opposite. Your listing came into them through concierge and they decided it wasn't for them and they rejected it. So that is what we call the hit counters. And once again, you select each one individually and it gives you the email action that you have had. So once you have the hit counters, if you click on any of those numbers in any of those sections, it will bring up this graphical representation. So it'll show you your number of portal views, the number of agent views, and you'll see on the bottom, you can change that if you just want the portal views or the agent views, and you can change past 4 weeks. I think it goes out about 2 months, something like that. So you not only have the numbers here, you have a graphical representation if you want. So the next thing we have here is called reverse prospecting. And what reverse prospecting does is it shows you all of the agents that have sent your listing to their customers. I'll say that again. Reverse prospecting shows you all of the agents that have sent your listing to their customer. So the way we access this, we're going to select the listing that we want here from the My Listing section and simply click on Reverse Prospect. So here's what you have here. First here on the left-hand side, you will have the agent's name. Okay. Over here is the reference number. Okay. We're not going to obviously tell you who that customer is. If you'd ever like to know, you can call me outside and bring your checkbook. So this is a reference number so that if you send them anything, they will know which customer it was that they sent your listing. Over here, you're going to see that whether they marked it as a heart or a light bulb or a trash can. And here's the one right here. So these numbers are really the crucial ones. This is telling you that this agent sent 3 listings to this customer. Yours was one of them. In this case, they sent 8 listings. Yours was one of them. So the lower that number is, the better off it is for you. Lots of times you'll pull this up, it'll say 250. That means that that agent sent that customer 250 listings. One of those 250, somewhere in there, is yours. So just remember that the lower the number is, the better chance that you're going to have that they saw that listing. Now, if you want to connect with that agent, all you need to do is click on their name, and that takes you to an email conduit, whereas you'll see we already have the subject set, reverse prospecting inquiry, with the listing ID. Now, this is very important to me anyway. You do not want to send an email to every single agent that sends out your listing, okay? When the agent sets up that contact, when you go to the contact setup screen, they have the ability to remove that contact from reverse prospecting. It is selected by default to be on. So they would have to proactively turn them off. And I'm telling you right now that if you start bombing emails to every agent that sent out your listing to their customer, they're eventually just going to turn off their customers. So it's a great tool, but use it judiciously. Maybe you've had a price reduction and you want to let that agent know. Great way to use it. Maybe you see that they came in and the customer gave it a trash can. They didn't like it at all. Maybe a good opportunity to send a quick email to that agent, ask for some feedback. Okay, so it's there for you to use, but you need to use it judiciously. All righty, so that is your hit counters, your reverse prospecting, your market performance and listing performance reports, all great ways to help you set up your listing and track what's going on with your listings during that time period. Any questions there?
So I know, Melissa, we have some questions that have come in, so maybe you could just ask Neal.
Sure. Margot Miller asked, what would be a link that we would put into our Facebook as well?
What would be a link we put on? Sorry, I don't understand the question.
So I think that what she was referring to, you had showed a section where you could copy a URL or a link that you could share. And the question is, when you post that, if you were to post it on Facebook, how will that populate?
Don't know the answer to that question, Margot. Send me an email, please. I'll get you the answer. My understanding is that is pretty much a link to put into your emails. I do not know if that link would work with Facebook.
Okay, and then also Pete had a question for whenever Zillow does an update and your client says there are mistakes in the listing, how would that be handled?
Feel free to send any of those to me and I will handle them from this end.
Thank you, Neal.
Did I just say that? That's good. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here
for. And for everybody, if you haven't met Neal, other than right now, Neal has always responded very quickly to our questions, our agents' questions and concerns, as well as, made himself available to really anyone. He does cover a large portion of the areas that we cover and a lot of you cover. So we will make sure that Neal's information gets populated in the show notes of this video. We are recording this video, so it will be available for you to check out, later on, and also share around with people that you think could benefit from this.
Terrific. Terrific. Do I have time to show one more thing, sir?
Sure, go ahead. Absolutely.
Great. I'd like to show you guys what's called watched listings. If you remember in the old MRIS system, we had a little icon that looked like a little binocular called watch listings. And you could put that listing into watch listings and then come in the morning and click on watch listings and look for any changes to the listing. We don't have that anymore, but I actually want to show you an easier way for you as agents to keep track of particular listings that you want to track. Maybe the customer said the price is a little high, keep an eye on it for me, please, in case there's a price reduction, or it's under contract. Well, please keep an eye on it in case it falls through, things of that nature. So I'm going to show you how to create an automated watch listing for yourself. So let's say, just for whatever sake here, I want to watch this listing. And you can do this with as many listings as you want. We'll just do it with 2 for now. Okay. So I select the listings I want to watch. Now I'm going to come down to the bottom of the page and I'm going to click on carts. Okay. I'm going to set up a new cart. And I'm going to call that cart watched listings. Okay. And under the contact, and if you haven't done this already, I'm pretty sure you all do, you should all have yourselves set up as contacts with your email address. So you're going to set yourself up as the contact. Now I have a cart. And you'll see here, I added 2 listings to my watch listings. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I could run another search and I could pick off the ones I wanted to watch, add them to the cart. Okay, they don't all have to be from the same search. You could actually do an MLS number search and just pop it into the cart. So you could have one listing in the cart, you could have 50 listings in the cart, it doesn't matter. Once you have all the listings you want to watch in the cart, you're going to click on View. Now we're at the cart. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to select them both. We're going to click as Save as a New Auto Email. It's going to take you right to the normal auto email section. You will put yourself in as the contact. You will put in the subject, Watch Listings. Forget about my spelling. Okay, while I'm down here, I'll show you, here's where concierge is. So this will, this is not lit up now because I'm using my own email address. So you would click on that to set up concierge. That would make the schedule disappear. Okay, and then this is where you can remove your contacts from that reverse prospecting. So now I'm going to come down here to schedule. I'm going to set this up as ASAP. And I'm going to save it. Okay, so now you have this new auto email for watch listings. Make sure when you get that first one that you click into it to fire up the system. So now once you have this set up, there's no need to check that listing every day. If there's any changes to that listing, the system will automatically email you that listing with the changes in it. Okay. It'll automatically now send them to you. So that is the way that you can automate the watched listings. I hope that makes it helpful. It really is the easiest way. And remember now, there is no criteria in this search, right? You just added listings to the search. So you will never get any new listings sent to you from this. You will only get the changes from the listings that you have in this particular watch listing card. And there you go, watch listings. I think we're just about at it now, so I'm going to turn it back to Melissa and Todd, and we can answer any questions that you might have.
Clark, do you have any questions? Clark Benson, one of our agents, is on with us here. Clark has been an agent for over 30 years and remembers when we had no MLS, at least, you know, what we have now, the tools that are available. So Clark, any questions for Neal or comments that you may add?
Not questions, but the comments. I think the stats that he showed us early on, and then the market performance reports are going to be very invaluable. We'll know what's going on in the market as this situation works its way through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I know we get a lot of questions at the office from our agents about you know, the tools that Bright offers here and a subscription that we pay for, which is actually very valuable if you and reasonable if you actually look at the different tools. And I want to point out, you know, I hear sometimes a lot of pushback from agents with the MLS populating data to, you know, the various sites like Zillow and Realtor.com and things like that. Want you guys to know, I mean, these tools, these clients, they can't get from Realtor.com or Zillow or any of the aggregating sites. So, you know, really the way that we stay relevant in the transaction is to add value and show value, and having these tools that they can't get online without maybe doing a whole lot of research and things that they would have to spend a lot of time doing. We actually have it as a push of a button. So we thank you, Neal. Thank you so much,
Todd,
for your
excuse
time.
me. Can I just mention two more things real quick?
Sure.
Some other tools that if you all haven't taken advantage of, now would be a great time after you lock the kids in the basement. One is Smart Charts Pro. And for GBBR members, that is part of your subscription through the GBBR. That is a great way to pull stats. There are also a couple of reports in there. One is a monthly detail report that gives you the past month snapshot of all sales activity, including days on market and inventory, breaks it down by price range and type of dwelling. That's a great report to use to keep track of the areas that you use. You can actually pull that report by the county, by a legal subdivision, by an advertised subdivision, by a neighborhood, by a zip code. So you can really drill down very far. There's also another report in there called the Insight Report. And that is a great report that you can also run by zip code or by subdivision. And that's a great report to use for your listing presentations. It gives your prospective sellers an idea of what's going on in the market, and especially gives them an average of the days on market at that particular time. So that's one thing that you can use. There's also lots of charts and graphs in there that you can pull in. You can do comparisons between zip codes and counties and subdivisions, bar charts, line charts, all kinds of information you can pull on there. There are also gauges that you can pull which show you metrics compared to the 5-year average. And these metrics and charts can also be embedded for no charge into your websites, which are a tremendous advantage to your website. It keeps fresh information on there, keeps people coming back, and over time, it will improve your SEO. And real briefly, although I never say anything briefly, I did want to mention Remind. If you haven't been checked into Remind yet, you can go here to Market Research and click on Remind Pro. This is a tremendous farming tool. It allows you to pull lists to do mailings with factors that you just cannot use in Bright. For example, I can search by the home equity. I can search by ownership time. I can search by, it has a sell score, which is an analytical predictor of those people most likely to be selling their homes. Ownership time, flood, building type, land use, Airbnbs, mortgage rate, mortgage age. Okay, so if you're looking to farm to people that may be looking to sell their homes, you can put in a minimum equity so you know that these people have enough equity to sell their home. You can put in ownership time because the real estate statistics show us that people start to think about selling and moving within about 7 years. So you can look for people that have lived there at least 7 years or have had their mortgage for at least 5 years. So you're in a position to sell. You can create mailing lists. You can print labels off of here. You can export them to spreadsheets. It's a tremendous farming program. For either Smart Charts or Remind, we could do an online session for this if you would like. We could schedule one in the future. That's about all I'm going to say today. I thank you so much, everybody, for joining. On behalf of myself, I thank you, Todd and Melissa, for setting this up. Thank you all your support, and I assure you, we all may be home, but we're still working like dogs to keep you guys in business, to try to keep the market going in a smooth way. And please, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to call me. As I always say, call me anytime, day or day. But quite honestly, if you ever need me early in the weekend up to about 8:30, 9 o'clock, that is perfectly okay with me. If you need me on the weekend, do not hesitate to call me. If my wife isn't close enough to throw something at my head, I will be there for you. So please call me. I love what I do. I enjoy working with all of you. And once again, thank you all very much.
Neal, thank you. And thanks for everybody watching, your great comments. And again, this would be published so that you can watch it later or share it with people that you feel could get value out of it. And have a great day.